I'm like half dead at the moment because I drank a lot last night.
What a coincidence! I'm drinking right now.
I had, what was it? One of those big fucking cans of Red's Wicked and an entire bottle of wine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The first one, I'm like, that's not too bad. But then you said that entire bottle. I'm like, holy shit.
That's a lot of wine.
That is some suburban white woman shit right there.
Oh man, this shit was fun.
I bet.
DJing while wine drunk, so much better.
Oh, were you playing like a live set or something?
I was doing VR stuff.
Oh, hell yeah. Wait. They're doing live VR stuff now?
Oh, like club gigs. Yeah, I play a lot of club stuff.
How are they doing it live?
Well, the thing is, a lot of the world's work is there's a video player. So what I would do, I'd stream on Twitch, and they put the Twitch stream into the world, and I would also be in the world at the same time. And normally what I like to do, at least, is like I'll turn off nameplates and I'll just have the floor showing, like the dance floor where everybody's at, and then like a small little, thing where my webcam's at.
Okay.
And
that's nuts. Because I did a couple of VR shows, but yeah, it was all like pre-recorded because nobody could figure out, how to do it live. But I guess that's a proper way.
And there are some clubs even that have like figured out how to do it. Actually, we should probably save this for the podcast, honestly.
Yeah, actually, this would make really good conversation.
I already started recording, so.
Wait, really? Should we do an intro?
I mean, I can do an intro now. I was just gonna wait until you guys are done.
Do the intro. I feel bad.
We could put this in the beginning and just like cut for it, but fucking
just have like a live intro.
Yeah, well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the It's Pizza Time podcast. It's been like, how long has it been, Taps? It's been like a few months, I think.
It's been a few months, yeah.
Since the last one, we took our little break, but we're finally back. And we're gonna, first of all, I gotta address this. We're gonna be changing the schedule up a little bit, and you'll notice that in the future. So like whenever this comes out, you'll notice that like it's gonna be a little different, but like, hey, it's it's fine. It's not gonna be a big deal. But anyway, this particular episode is gonna be fun. So I'm iNDiGO, as is. I've almost like completely forgotten how to do this. It's like it's just been that long. But fucking yeah, I'm iNDiGO. Call me Marco. I don't give a shit. You know the deal. Yeah, you can swear on here, Xavi. By the way, just so you know. Yeah,
I was going to anyway, but I completely forgot.
All right, cool.
That's a yes.
Yeah. I'm joined here today by my co-host Taps.
Hello.
And our very special guest Xavi. Is it Xavi or Xavi?
Yeah, funny story about that. It's either or, because originally it was Xavi.
Xavi.
Yeah, well, my name actually is Xavier, and
okay.
So opening another Truly. Give me a sec. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know how it is.
Nah,
listen, I gotta to operate properly on a podcast. I have to hit Balmer speak, which is something we can get into later. That's an interesting little theory.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
but
yeah.
So originally, I went by the absolutely horrid name of Zavrock Beats.
Nice.
And before that, it was the completely I think it was like my PS3 gamer tag, Zavrock Beats 1334. And the 1334 is because I tried to make it Leet speak, but I forgot how to spell it properly in Leet, which I believe is 1337.
Yeah.
So yeah, I fucked that one up.
Yeah.
But then it went to I went to Zavrock Beats. My friends were like, "You need a more professional name," and I'm like, "Oh, let me just pick Xavi without googling it or anything." Oops. Turns out it's like one of the most popular soccer players and now managers in the world. So yeah, goodbye search engine optimization. But to get back to the original point. Oh yeah, sir. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's not very I guess searchable then, but I mean it is very I guess close to you if your name is Xavier, right?
It is. It's kind of nice because it's not like one of those things where it's like somebody's named like, your mom didn't name you like Sudden Deathany or something, So it's kind of easier for me to equate like the music with myself.
Man, like if I become a parent, like my child should be scared of what like their name would be.
Flux Pavilia Tony.
But
like just call
having
him
a name similar to like your actual name. I relate to that because
Virtual
my
Ryan.
Taps is like a play on my last name, and so it's just like, so I feel that a lot.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is from like everything that I've observed. And I swear to God, I'll get back to the original point too for like people listening who are getting pissed that I'm not like.
No, nobody's gonna get pissed. I can promise you that. No one really gives a shit here at all.
These podcasts always go on weird tangents.
Oh yeah,
I know.
That's what it lives on.
But I've been on the other side, like listening to podcasts where people completely forget about tangents, and it's like I want to scream, but I can't because I'm listening to a podcast. But like, oh shoot, completely lost train of thought.
Something about your name and searchability.
Oh yeah, Xavi is not search engine optimized at all because there's a ton of like different musicians as well named like Xavi Hernandez is one that comes to mind, and then there's like tons of different Xaviers. But back to the original point, it was originally Xavi, but people kept on like calling it Xavi, so I'm like, okay, it's Xavi, but now people are starting to call it like Xavi and Xavi again, so I think it's just whatever.
Yeah, I think it's more just a pronunciation thingy. It's like,
tomato,
tomato.
Yeah, there are people who get like angry about it, I think, but like I've dealt with it my entire life with my name being Xavier. I've had like so many different pronunciations of my names, not to mention spellings. Oh my God, that's a mess.
Ooh, like I get like people getting, I can understand like people like, getting picky about spellings because like, that's like, I guess the point, but pronunciation, like you can't really get mad at that.
And it's like I've dealt with it so long in my life. It's like when it kind of transferred over to my music name, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah. I guess anyway, we should probably like move on to the point. I need to ask you, I guess, who you are and what you do for anybody who's still like trying to figure that out at this point.
We also still have the all-important question we have yet to ask.
The precursor. We're almost there.
All right.
So my name is Xavier. I go by Xavi, and I make music. I find it to be fun, and it's really just kind of a hobby. But it's gotten to the point where I'm making good hobby, and I'm now currently on Ophelia Records, which is 7 Lines label. I'm releasing an album coming up here extremely soon. That date it is somewhere between March and April, but that date will officially announce probably, I'd say, in a couple of weeks here. Currently recording it at the beginning of February. Other than that, there's really not much to cover. I make melodic bass music and just trying to enjoy life as much as I can during COVID with no shows going on.
That's a pretty good summary as to you as a person. Usually it's like either way too long-winded or it's like too short.
I mean, shit, I could start with my birth, but nobody cares about that. I was born at an extremely young age.
Man, who'd have thought? Wild, crazy stuff. Only like the deepest lore here, folks. Yeah, I guess I'll move straight on to the precursor question. Like, sorry if this is kind of like rough because like I haven't done this in a while. Like I said that before. Like my brain is starting to get back in the mode of like actually having a conversation with somebody for an hour because with COVID it's like I can't go outside and talk to people, but also it's like not being present on the internet kind of is like
I honest to God have been having trouble during conversation like with people in real life. I've found myself having trouble keeping eye contact now.
Oh yeah, I'm not too surprised about that. I do that too because it's like fucking you're not like when you're like away from people for long enough, you like don't really it's kind of like I guess working out in a sense that you like kind of just start losing like the muscle memory of like how to go about it.
Yes. Yes. I feel like I'm going to start like hissing at people like one of those weird kids in middle school soon.
Dude, you know what? I would own it.
Like a fucking feral child.
I mean, he's been inside for too long.
I think we've all been inside for too long.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to
on
local
Twitter for
Walgreens
too
and
many.
just like, yeah, holy shit. Twitter's been, it's been a mess ever since COVID started.
Oh yeah, it's just like, go outside, get some fresh air, stop fucking doing what you're doing, Twitter.
Well, the issue is, it's like where I'm at right now. I won't say specifically for obvious reasons, but where I'm at right now is like it's like negative 15 degrees outside Fahrenheit, which I know for like some extremely northern areas in Canada, they're probably laughing at me, but I don't care. That's really cold.
It's pretty fucked. Like,
extremely.
I live in the southern U.S. Like that if we've only seen those temperatures like very, very rarely.
Everybody that I know in LA is like posting stories like, "Oh, it's such a nice day out," and I want to punch them.
It's like it's been cold here, but it's like it's never been that cold. I mean, it's definitely been colder like here in LA than like it usually is.
Oh, you're in LA? I want to punch you. No, I'm joking.
Honestly, like I'm not a fan of like I know this is gonna kind of sound shitty, but like I'm pretty sure it's like I'm not a big of a fan of like LA weather, but that's probably just because of like I've been around it for so long. Because it gets so boring when it's only like one type of weather forever.
I have a bit of a right to get angry at that because it's hell up here right now, but at the same time, I've heard that from so many people who've moved down there.
Yeah, and it's like I would love to move to like Seattle or something where like it rains all the time, but from like the people I know up in Seattle, it's like because it rains all the time, that it's like boring and shitty. You know what I mean?
It feels like everything on the coast is like wherever you're at, it almost seems to be just the same weather constantly, except for like New York or something.
Yeah.
You don't know what happens over there.
The weather is so bipolar here. Like one day it could be sunny and in like the 50s. The next it could be like below freezing and like practically drizzling. And then of course we get
Are you Midwest?
Yeah, I'm in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yep.
And so we get tornadic stuff too. That shit is wild. It's so chaotic.
I used to actually live before I moved. I'm currently like in the Chicago area right now. I know a couple of friends who get angry because they're like, "Oh, you're not Chicago, you're north of Chicago," but I'm close enough that it counts. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, it's like no one cares. It's like if I said I lived in Anaheim, it's like you live in LA. It's just outside of LA. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, the thing is like nobody cares except for the people that are in the city, and they care immensely. They care so much.
Exactly.
It's a bit worrying.
No, yeah, exactly. It's like if you live in Anaheim, you're gonna say like, "Oh, I'm from Anaheim," but like anybody like from outside of Anaheim is like, "Oh, you're just LA." You know?
I honestly feel like I know, like I don't know anybody like this, but I feel like I've met people before where their entire like personality is just based off where they live, and it's really worrying because like if you uproot somebody and just move them somewhere and they no longer have a personality, there's something wrong with that person.
But yeah, it's like I don't get it. There's like I feel like LA has a lot of those people.
Oh, you know, God.
It's like,
dude, LA has like every other day on Twitter, I go on there and I just have a bad time because half the people in LA are just like, stop moving here. I'm an LA person, but you're not an LA person, so you can't move here, even though I did a year ago.
I'm laughing because that's shockingly what it's like. It's really weird. It's fucking all right, whatever. I'll move on. I'll move past this, but I guess we'll jump right into the precursor question, the question that everybody gets asked. But what is your favorite kind of pizza?
All right, I knew that was going to be the question, and it's I'm gonna probably anger a lot of people back from where I'm from. So I come from St. Louis, which a lot of people don't know actually has its own style of pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. What a lot of a lot of people really don't. But the reason they don't know it, everybody knows Chicago has its own style of pizza, and this is where I'm going to get people angry at me. The reason people know Chicago has its own pizza is because people want to reproduce that pizza because it's good. St. Louis pizza is not good. It's like okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but I had like an idea of like that's probably what the reason is going to be.
So the thing is, like, St. Louis pizza is good. It's not bad. Like, pretty much if you have the ingredients for pizza, you have a winning combination no matter where you are. But,
Hmm.
and it's a big major but. It's a big old fat booty. St. Louis pizza, the only real place you can get it anymore, other than like really specialty shops, is a place called Emo's. And Emo's is good, but it is so expensive. And the thing with St. Louis pizza is it's extremely thin. So it's like flatbread pizza, but
It's-
shorter.
So it's like a tortilla, basically, but like
Honest to God, yes. It's like a very crunchy tortilla with a very small a bit of sauce on there and a bit of mozzarella and a cheese called Provel that is like specifically St. Louis. And
not,
then like,
not
you know, you
provolone, but just like
no, yeah, it's different. It's different.
That is literally the perfect description for St. Louis pizza I've ever heard. A tortilla with some sauce.
That's all it is. And like,
Yeah.
it's good, but like, holy shit, you can get like a 20-inch pizza and it still won't fill you because that shit is literally a cracker. And that'd be fine if Emo's wasn't also like charging like, you know, $30 for pizza that size. It's ridiculous. So I move up to Chicago and I'm in fucking heaven because they have Chicago style pizza here and it's so good.
it's like 4,000 times as thick.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, imagine that. Going from St. Louis to Chicago pizza, going from a cracker to like something the size of my like shin.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous and it's so good. So my answer, in a very long-winded form as you can tell, is Chicago pizza.
I
Shit
mean,
slaps.
But like I'm talking about like specific like flavor, like yeah, or I guess toppings or whatever. Like what's your go-to?
Flavor. All right.
Yeah.
So here's what I do. Chicago style, as you know.
All right. Yeah.
And really, just meat lovers. Just a fuck ton of protein meats in there. Everything you can throw in it.
You know what? I can't get mad at that. That's pretty good.
That's pretty fucking
That's
solid. Not
That's
gonna
solid,
lie.
you know
That sounds good.
I mean, the thing is, nobody really gets angry. Like, okay, there's a lot of people who dislike different veggies on their pizza or different, like, very kind of out there things, but nobody really gets angry when they get sausage on their pizza because it's like sausage. It's so just middle of the road, but it's so tasty.
Unless you're like vegan or something.
Yeah, that's the only thing. But if you're getting like a meat lover's pizza and you're vegan, then you fucked up somewhere.
Yeah.
So, like there's been a
either that or they like or the Postmates guy gave you like the wrong order or some shit.
True. Okay, now here's my follow-up question, if that's the precursor.
Yeah.
There is a place in St. Louis that has to do with this. What are your guys' thoughts on calzones?
Ooh.
I dig them.
A calzone is properly made.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a good fucking proper calzone. That makes my night. That it just it gives me so much serotonin.
I honestly
think,
like I think if you do a calzone properly, it might be better than getting the pizza with the same stuff on top.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think you have to be specific with your ingredients, but like that, holy shit, you can do that right.
If you do it like a perfect calzone, it's kind of like the best possible option because like it's not like, you know, super fucking like either depending on like whatever you want it. Like I personally don't like it super crispy. So it's like, you know, but it's like I don't have to like get all the way to the crust and the crust is like more crispy than like the rest of pizza. And it's not as messy either, which is nice.
Yes, true.
It could be less greasy as well.
Yeah, it's nice when you like take a bite into a calzone and it doesn't like there's not the fucking like flood of grease that just like ends up running down your wrist if you hold it wrong.
It's not just like how far can I go with the cursing on this?
Dude, as long as it's not like super offensive, you're fine.
Okay, I don't think this is super offensive. I was gonna say it's not like Little Caesar's grease bukkake.
Oh, you know, no, that's all good. Like
that's perfectly understandable.
Yeah, the only words that you can't say on here are like the gamer words. If you know
the words that I cannot say on here to explain the words that I cannot say on here. No, I understand completely.
The gamer words, yes.
The funny gamer moment words.
The Modern Warfare 2 lobby words.
Yeah, don't say those. Don't say those.
Flashback on that. No, but I was gonna say really quick. There's a place in St. Louis. If you ever go to St. Louis for some godforsaken reason, there's a place.
On the wrong flight or something.
Yeah, exactly. So if you end up in St. Louis, there is a place called fatty, or no, I'm sorry, it's called Sauce on the Side. There's one in the Grove, which is like one of the cool areas of St. Louis. And if you go there, get the Fatty B. Sauce on the Side only does calzones. Like that's all they do. Their dessert menu is all calzone based. Like, and of course their main menu is too. But like, if you go there, get the Fatty B. That like certified me. Like if anybody's listening to this and they're like, I'm in St. Louis, what should I get in this area? Sauce on the Side, Fatty B. It is so good. Oh my god.
All right.
Xavi approved.
I'm gonna have to backtrack just a second. What is a dessert calzone?
Okay, yeah, I figured that was gonna happen. So obviously there isn't like any sauce in it, right? Other than like any sort of sweet sauce, but like, so like when I went there one time with my buddy, who I won't name on the podcast, I just realized I almost doxed them.
Yeah, just like straight up first last name. Here's the address. Go find
bros. Such a bro moment, doxing your bros on a podcast. No, so I went there. I got the Fatty B. I ate like half of it because that shit's so filling. It's like I think. Let me see if I can remember. It has like cooked garlic, but it has like cloves and not like chopped cloves. Because the thing is with cloves, and I kind of am getting into cooking. If you chop it, that's where the garlic flavor kind of comes out. But if you just leave the cloves and cook it, it usually doesn't have as strong as a flavor. So that shit's just like perfect in it. And then it has like, I think, pepperoni, meatballs, mozzarella in it. It has a bunch of other shit too. It's so good. But anyway, so I got that, ate like half of it, and then like saved the rest because, you know, holy shit, that's a lot of food. But me and him were like, well, let's get some dessert here. And I think I got it was like a banana split or something. So basically what it is it's just a calzone, but instead of like any sort of savory things, it's a bunch of sweet shit. So mine had like bits of banana in it, and I think ice cream and a bit of like chocolate sauce maybe or something. It's been a while since I had it.
Is it kind of like a crepe or kind of if you're American?
I've literally never heard anyone call a crepe a crepe.
Like
crepe,
that's the way you're supposed to say it. Fucking
hold the line for a second here. Yeah, you did call that a crepe.
I did call it a crepe. I'm gonna stand by it. You're
gonna stand by. Ooh, that's brave.
I'm gonna stand by it. As a European, I pronounce it correctly.
As a European,
yeah, I'm a Swedish boy.
You're Swedish.
Yeah.
Were you born in America or were you born in Sweden?
I was born there.
Ah, shit. I was gonna have that used against you. I thought you were like gonna be like, I'm 1/50th Swedish.
No, I'm like almost fully European. Like I'm the first gen American.
Damn.
You're not European. You're Los Angelian or
Los Angelian.
Yeah. Los Angelian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a Valley Girl accent.
Nemesis, Los Angeles.
Do I not? I don't really know what
you have
American accent I'd have.
I think you just have the American accent.
Like just a stereotypical kind of like, you know, all right.
Middle of the road, like 96% of America has this accent.
Yeah, I'd be like, just go to anywhere in like Europe and be like, hi, I'm Tom Cruise, and they'll believe it.
Honestly,
like that kind of voice.
I'd give it a shot.
You know, dude, I mean, that you just like kind of reminded me of something that like a few years ago, I went to Europe with like a buddy of mine, and we went to like a small little French mountain town, like just to chill out and whatnot, and fucking you know, he's a Korean guy, and like they don't get a lot of tourists, so we go up to a fucking crepe shop. I'm gonna say crepe because fuck anybody.
And then he went in there and he pronounced it crepe, and you laughed him out of the shop while the employees didn't care.
No,
is that what happened?
No, he went in, and the owner was like, Jackie Chan.
No,
like straight up, and was convinced.
Oh no!
It was so funny, and it was like he took a picture of him, and like we went back like a few days later, and it was like framed on the wall. It was the funniest shit. I don't know if it's still there. It might still be there, but it was the funniest shit.
Please tell me your friend used that to like get free crepes.
Dude, like he tried.
Yes,
Or like I
it's me.
tried. I like
I
I tried. He didn't really want to go with it. Like he was like,
yes,
I
it's
don't
me.
know.
I am that person. So anyway, since I am famous, can you give me some free food? Like you might as well make a horrid situation good.
I know. Yeah, I mean, like it wasn't that horrid. Like I mean, I couldn't blame them too much. You know, it's like without like you know you don't have like anybody other than like you know French farmers coming through your town.
That's true. If it's like, I was thinking like, like Paris or something, but if it is like a small like French mountain town where
Yeah,
like nobody really comes through.
this place's population, it was like a maybe a little less than 1,000, and it like
That is tiny.
yeah, it like triples in the winter because it's like it becomes like a ski resort town. But
Very
that's
interesting.
it. But like nobody shows up in the summer, so
I have I am somewhat jealous. I've never really been to France.
it
My
is
Out
yeah.
of the country yet.
one of my friends actually. So okay, here's a story that's at least somewhat interesting. So the same friend that actually went and got that. So first of all, cornering back, it's really not like a crepe. It's like a way thicker crepe. It's basically a calzone, but with like sweet shits put into it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But continuing on, that same friend, who was at that calzone shop with me, actually, he used to work for a airline company as a mechanic, and one of the benefits he had was he could get insanely cheap flights overseas. So, like a while back, he went to Japan, and I think the round trip cost him like $120.
What the fuck?
Bro.
I know. Yeah, I know. I know it was crazy. So for like a couple of years, he was just saving up his vacation days, and then like every once in a while, like he was traveling as much as like you see billionaires on Instagram travel, where they're just fucking off to like France for a couple of days. And speaking of which, he actually went to France for the 24-hour Le Mans, the race over there.
Mm.
And so yeah, he got like the whole ass experience. I was so jealous because he like stayed in like an Airbnb and got a full French breakfast like a mile from the track. So he's sitting there like eating and sending me snaps while he's like hearing the cars like in the distance. But to kind of like interesting story that even more so than just going over to France. A few years ago, I actually did work for a racing team, a Formula 4 team out of St. Louis. And one of the clients for the team, their father was Rubens Barrichello, who used to race in F1. And I only did one track day because I was really new and they really needed the help. It was a horrible time because I was completely untrained. But while I was there, my friend Jeff, who also worked for the company, was just kind of shooting a shit with Rubens Barrichello, which is kind of a crazy sentence to say in general. Like you don't usually get to kind of shoot the shit with somebody that used to drive an F1.
Mm.
So while they were talking, Jeff was talking about when he went to, I think it was Jeff, or it might have been Rubens who brought it up, was kind of talking about how they drove. Either Rubens was talking about how he drove in 24-hour Le Mans, or Jeff was talking about how he saw it, and they kind of both figured out at the same time that Jeff actually was there the year that Rubens was driving. So Jeff was able to go into his phone and like scroll through pictures and get a specific, like he took a specific picture of Rubens' cars that went by, and Rubens was just like, oh yeah, that's me, which was extremely surreal. Probably one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. It was pretty crazy.
It's a small world, you know?
Yeah, holy shit. Talk about that. Like, what a small world. Like, not only is Jeff like just kind of went over to France to go watch the race, but then just so happens to be on this team where Rubens' son is driving, and then shooting the shit with Rubens, who, yeah, it was crazy.
A full circle kind of a situation.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
it's
nuts.
like one. Yeah, it's like one thing when like you see somebody from high school back in your hometown, you're like, hey, small world, and it's one thing where it's like, oh yeah, you and I were in France at the same time.
I've like had a similar experience like that. Fucking
Oh, pray tell.
like I in like 2016 or something, like I went to France like with my dad and sister, and like we were just chilling in Paris, fucking because my dad's like friend has like an apartment that's like It's like a block away from the Eiffel Tower, which is fucking crazy.
Jesus.
Like you would you just like lean kind of like a little bit dangerously out of the window and like, oh shit, it's right there.
I thought you were gonna say like the building leans like the Eiffel Tower.
That's the wrong tower, I think.
I don't
Listen,
think
well, the Eiffel Tower over in that like city is so important that every single building leans. So,
Are we talking about the Eiffel Tower?
yeah. So you're saying that you had a apartment in the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, so and then like this was like and I was like, you know, just messaging like friends through like Snapchat and shit, and fucking like this was like when they had just like added, I think I don't know like how long they had it, but like this is the first time where like I kind of discovered the map thingy where you could like just kind of see like where your homies are, and then like
Yes.
I noticed like there's someone else in France with me. What the fuck is happening? And I zoom in like, oh, they're in Paris, and I'm like, this is a friend, by the way, that I had like met through CS:GO, believe it or not. So they happened to be on like some kind of class trip with their orchestra to Paris at the same time that I was. So we ended up meeting up at the Eiffel Tower, and that was our first time ever meeting, which was fucking nuts.
That's crazy.
And it was like the weirdest experience.
That had to be like that's so just surreal.
Yeah, and it was like really weird, and I just was like, "Hey, you're in Paris right now?" And she was like, "Yeah," and I'm like, so am I. You want to hang out?"
That's how like a romance movie starts.
Yeah, except this wasn't that.
Okay. Oh my God, you're in France at the same time? That's crazy. It's like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, we're like, the city of love at the same time? Crazy. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk?
It's like, want to grab food? All right, see ya. Movie's
The
over.
Hallmark Channel
From
presents.
Silver One to Silver Ring.
Okay, all right, buddy.
She was a 30-odd-something woman that was completely obsessed with her career, but he was a 40-year-old single father who was about to shake her life.
Neither of those things are true.
Coming this summer on Hallmark Channel. But yeah, no, I'm not saying you're a 40-year-old single dad.
Dude, I would.
Are you?
I'm not. I can promise you that. If I sound like a 40-year-old man, I'm like, I'd be very surprised.
He was a 40-year-old man that ran an EDM-centric podcast. That'd be a weird Hallmark movie.
It really would be. I mean, but I wouldn't put it past them at all.
He was a 40-year-old single dad who ran an EDM podcast. There's no woman love interest. The movie is about his podcast.
Dude, like Hallmark makes like the dumbest movies.
Dude, did you see there a while back on Twitter it was going around. It was a picture of the Hallmark movies like for Christmas, and every single one looked the same, and they were all wearing like the same clothes.
Yeah, I was actually gonna mention like all of the Hallmark Christmas movies, they're like identical. It's phenomenal how
amazing.
Similar they are.
They you know what? I can't fault them for it. They found their fan base, and they're going with it.
There's there's two like separate like Hallmark Christmas movies that are it's like Snow Globe and a Snow Globe Christmas. And they star the same lead actor. So you think like they're probably like sequels or like one's a sequel to the other. No, they're different characters. Different movies.
Everybody
same plot.
watching that channel probably
Same
feels
plot.
like they're getting dementia. Because all the movies are like the same actors but like slightly different.
Yeah.
It was literally the same plot, same actor. That's nuts.
I feel like Hallmark is one of those like companies that they don't even really like proofread a screenplay. They just get a screenplay and they're like, "Oh, cool, let's make it into a fucking movie." Like,
I bet it's like 10 guys. They all just like write the exact same movie over and over again.
It's a bunch of monkeys on typewriters.
Honestly, yes. Except it's a bunch of monkeys on typewriters who have like keywords that they have to follow.
And like a lot of money.
Oh my god, they're giving those monkeys so much fucking money. Holy shit!
It's like, wait, have you seen like those things where it's like like I'm pretty sure they're fake, but I gave an AI like 1,000 episodes of like Seinfeld to watch, and then have it write an episode of Seinfeld kind of thing.
Yes, I have
I
seen
feel
those.
that's probably exactly what they're doing, but they have an actual AI to do it.
That would be funny as fuck. I feel like we could do. I feel like you could do that. You could get like an AI and just like make a Hallmark movie. I'd be honestly surprised if somebody hasn't tried that already.
Honestly, like I should probably look that up later because
That would be the perfect YouTube video where you have an AI make a film, like a screenplay, and then you go and make the fucking film.
I feel like you could do it like
You could do
artsy
it.
too. You
Yeah.
could make that so artsy. It'd like win like Sundance awards and shit.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't go like the Hallmark route and you're all like, no, listen, it's art if I have the performers do like an hour-long screenplay that was written by an AI.
dude, like why not? Why just make a movie that was written by an like AI? Like it'd be like it could be like the next Room.
Yeah.
No.
Honestly, like I wouldn't be surprised if like in a few years it comes out and there's a couple of studios who have been like doing like not like full AI, but like AI assisted writing of some sort. It would not phase me at this point, considering how much automation there is just in our daily lives in general.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of like weird AI shit. Have you guys heard about like there's like an AI program that can like write music now, like almost
Yeah.
like just completely like new stuff. Like it doesn't have to like it just kind of just strings together just based on like formulas.
I've watched those videos where they've like used AIs and like different interpretations and patterns to basically like continue songs.
Like
So like they'll play like 8 bars of like a Skrillex song, and then it will go into an AI section based on those 8 bars.
oh yeah, like I seen that too. That's fucking nuts. Like to think that like, just based on oh shit, like here's like a snippet and then it has to not only I'm assuming like it doesn't just like doesn't only have to like continue like the melodies and shit, but it has to like recreate the sounds kind of thing.
It does. Like it almost like the best way to put it would be like it just kind of guesses at what's going to happen next completely. So like it doesn't base like, oh, this is a guitar and this is a drum playing. It's just like takes everything in one big fat lump and is just like, what will it sound like next? So like sometimes when the AI takes over, just like halfway through, the drums just drop out and there's just nothing. And it almost like just becomes this compressed mess. It's really amazing stuff, but like
It's really crazy because it's like I imagine like having an AI that can like listen to like you're like, oh, how did they make like this bass sound, and then you just like plug it into a thing and then they're like, oh, here's the exact like specifications in Serum for you.
that would be nuts.
That'd be
Like,
crazy.
You
I
know,
wonder-
it's like if there's an AI that can like hear it and then like kind of replicate it on its own, like why not have something that could just like take out the step of putting it back in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That would be really interesting because I mean, like, with like like machine learning and such, you can. There's like techniques to isolate vocals in tracks, basically, but like when it comes to something like a specific serum base, you would need machine learning because there would have to be some sort of thought process behind kind of extracting the information from it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like layered over with everything else. Like, yeah, you can take the vocals out, but you can't take kick drum 1, snare 2, hi-hat 3, and all this other shit out at
Yeah.
the same time. So it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see. I mean, like, it just the span of like AI and what it can be used for, even at this point in time, without like looking as to like the exponential growth that it will obviously have in the future, is it's pretty mind blowing.
It's
Yeah.
nuts,
Like-
Did
Like-
you know that you can get masters from AI and factory called Lander? And
Dude, I actually was like, I think I was one of the first users of Lander before it was like a part of SoundCloud, and it sucks. It
sucks.
really does.
it does. Yeah, I've used it before too, and it's just like this literally did nothing to this fucking song besides
Yeah.
make it like a tad bit louder and sound more compressed.
It's so interesting though, because I feel like out of all this stuff that people are worried AI is going to take over as far as jobs and everything goes, I do think like at least the creative arts. There are parts of the creative arts I feel like it can kind of take over, but it'll probably, as a whole, be the last part that AI kind of touches.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people kind of say that AI is not going to touch the creative arts. I wholeheartedly disagree. I think the issue is
we already have like AI getting involved in like VFX and stuff like that. Like you don't need people to do like everything anymore.
Well, like deepfakes are basically using an AI to kind of I watched a summary on it because I'm a big idiot and I don't understand how any of that stuff works. But I think it's basically like predictive movement almost in a way. And like it just takes a bunch of like frames from the actors working, and it basically uses a like kind of learning.
Yeah, it's like thousands of pictures of the actor and thousands of a picture of like the model that you're attaching it to, and then they're like, oh, which ones kind of fit together, and then like just piecing it together.
And it's crazy because like these people on YouTube, like, you know, like with, I don't want to like, there's been like Star Wars material that has had where they've like replicated the faces of actors who either can't act in it,
or
are beyond the age to act as this character that they played in the 80s, or are passed away.
Yeah, like I know they did that with like the what was it, that Fast and the Furious movie, like with Paul Walker. They like completely like defaked him.
I will say the Paul Walker one looked pretty good compared to like a lot of the new Star Wars ones.
It looked it looked really good like at the time. Like I mean, like if
Rogue
you look,
One,
it does honestly.
If you look back at it now,
Rogue
it's like
One,
you can tell that there's like a little bit of like some like differences, but like then you wouldn't have noticed it because it's like you didn't know what to look for at all.
But the thing is, like for the Fast and Furious one, you like have to focus and notice like specifically, like if you went into that like completely blind to the fact that they used any sort of program to basically put Paul Walker's face over an extra, I honestly don't think you know. But if you went into Rogue One and they told you that, you didn't tell you that, you'd probably notice.
Yeah.
But it was like, really cool though, seeing Leia and like Grand Moff Tarkin and all those.
Yeah, but what's crazy is like if you go on YouTube and like look up like deepfake AI videos, like so Disney, God knows how much money they spent on doing like basically recreating these actors' faces on what are either body doubles or just complete CGI models. But if you go on YouTube, like there's these people with like these small YouTube channels who have just used a deepfake learning AI to basically redo that and redo it like 10 times better.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I feel like I might know like where you're coming from. It's like, have you ever watched Corridor?
Corridor Digital does a couple of those, but they I don't know if they use specifically like I think they actually do a lot of the work themselves and they don't use like a deepfake AI, but there is one guy who does a ton of that stuff. And I remember he did, I think it was the same guy. He did the intro for Full House, but it was all Nick Offerman. So it was just like, it was extremely surreal seeing an extremely realistic, like probably like 3-year-old Mary Kate Olsen or whatever her name is, but with the face of the man who played Rod Swanson on on Parks and Rec with like this big mustache and just being all like 3-year-old and like waving to the camera.
That sounds phenomenal. I need to see
that.
It
was crazy.
But yeah, it's like, it's so weird just like, you know, how like AI can do that now. And it's like, you know, it's I guess like the way I like to see it is like, you know, you have like a drawing, right? Or I guess a partial drawing. Or like, let's say you drew like a dinosaur and then like on a whiteboard, and then you like took an eraser, and like put a few lines through it. Like any person could like figure out how to like connect the lines again, right? And now it's like we're teaching computers like how to connect it back to the original image, but even better than we can.
Well, what's crazy is like it really depends on how you kind of like tell the AI to do it, because like you kind of have to have these fail parameters, which a lot of humans don't either recognize, like when they're doing their thought processes, or isn't really a factor. So like, let's say like the example of drawing these lines, right? So I know there's like a certain AI where basically what it does is it takes a bunch of iterations and completely redoes them every single time. And takes like, I've seen people use this to basically like to have an AI find its way around like a race course. So like, for example, like you have like a toy car on like race course, right? Just like a simple oval. And then you'll send one iteration out. It crashes into the wall. That's the fail parameter. So it knows not to really go with that. There needs to be alterations. You send the second out. It makes a slight alteration, but it still crashes into the wall. All this kind of leads up to a point where it's like the 998th. And now it makes a complete circuit. So now you take the fill parameter in, like you basically keep on sending them out and try to get like the best time around the track. And that's how some AI functions. So it's really interesting because the thought processes behind like how a human would draw a couple of lines where you'd be like, okay, let's draw line A to point B versus how an AI would function where it's like, okay, send out a car, for example, like using the race course analogy, but there's really no point B that it needs to reach in its mind, but you might have to set those parameters differently. So like if it strays from reaching point B, then it's considered a fail parameter. It just all like the different thought processes behind how all this stuff works is just completely mind blowing to me. And unfortunately, like computers just whip right over my head. So every time I try to research it, I'm like, okay, I'm bored now. I'm going to go drink or something.
I mean, it's like, it's a lot of like boring shit when it comes to like computers. It's like I feel I have a lot of respect for people that have like, you know, the patience to sit down and like learn like coding languages, because it's
I've
like
tried it.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like it's tougher than like almost learning an actual language.
I'd agree. It's just the thing is, it's just so abstract to me. I've tried to learn C++ before. Actually, like to be fully honest, I don't think I didn't sign an NDA or anything, so I can say this. A while back, I was interviewing for a job at a company that basically deals in robotic race cars that find their own way around tracks.
And
And
that would explain the metaphor you used earlier.
Exactly, yeah. But so like part of me applying for this company, they're like, well, we really like you, but you obviously have no experience in programming. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. So part of like me preparing for the second interview was I was actually taking coding lessons from a fellow producer. And it just, I got a lot of the basics of it. It was C++, but like so much of it just did not make any ounce of sense to me. It is just, it feels like, it's weird to say this because a lot of it is very strictly logic based.
Yeah.
But it feels very illogical, where it feels very like every time you're making any sort of like, you know, if and statement or something, it feels like you're just kind of jumping to these weird conclusions that just are not the immediate path that you take. It's like just throwing Occam's razor to the wind.
Yeah, it's
really,
it's
really
just
weird
kind of
shit.
like, yeah, it's just kind of like fucking. I mean, it's probably like a lot easier when you learn it from like a younger age, as is like, because I feel like coding to us is like as difficult as probably like music is for somebody who's doing coding.
That's a really good analogy. Yeah, I'd agree. Like, because believe it or not, actually, the person I was taking the coding lessons from, I was giving production lessons. And a lot of the production stuff was just, you know, it almost felt like natural to me, but there's a lot of stuff that they're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that. And I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, when it came to coding, I was just like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. And they're like, it's kind of like this. It's just, you know, you got to think of it in this way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of it is just, I really wish I did like look into programming a bit more when I was younger, because I feel like I could keep up with it more. But
yeah, it's like I feel like I'm not very good at the whole like production side. Like my brain doesn't like function in Serum and Ableton and shit. But like I'm feel like I have a better grasp on like music theory than you know, a lot of people, because like I had that like going for me when I was a kid, because my mom was like, dude, play instruments.
Music theory.
Y'all are lucky. I don't know what the fuck is going on with music. Like, because like I have this brain that functions extremely well in Ableton, and like my workflow is like that, and I can just get things done. But like when it comes to music theory, just
exactly. It's like for me, I'm like, when I look at Ableton, I'm like, okay, I'm learning it now. But like if I had looked at it like, you know, a year ago or 2 years ago, I would have been like, what the fuck is like any of this? But like if I had, you know, if you'd show me some sheet music, I'm like, oh yeah, I can play that.
To be fair, Ableton's like, just to get like used to all the main thing you got to focus on is the keyboard shortcuts. Like that's the first thing I tell anybody that's learning is just like learn those, because like, yes, you'll learn how to do this stuff, but oh my God, if you learn the keyboard shortcuts first and then learn how to do it and figure it out, your workflow is like already cut into like a fourth. Like you're going to be so quick at that shit.
Yeah.
Like for me, I still have a hard time grasping certain concepts when it comes to like like certain aspects of mix downs and things like that. But like
Fucking same.
I'm all, but I'm also like a film scoring student, and I can orchestrate, and I have a little bit of conducting experience, and like so I have like this whole other fucking world that I can use to supplement.
That's way
with
fucking cooler
electronic
though.
It's so hard.
Yeah,
It's
but
so
that's
hard.
so much cooler. If we were at the same bar and we were both going after the same girl and like trying to impress her, you'd win. I'd be like,
I don't have
hey,
it released
baby.
on Ophelia Records though.
Yeah, but I'd be like, hey, baby, I have 30,000 SoundCloud followers. And you're like, yeah, I conduct an orchestra every once in a while. And she's like, oh, yeah, okay.
I think you'd both are like at an equal level to like anybody else. I feel like
in general?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I don't know why, but I feel like musicians, like, it doesn't matter what kind of music you make. Like, you can make fucking dog shit like SoundCloud and shit, and like people will still be like, oh, he's a musician.
That's fair.
Nice.
Oh.
Except for electro swing. Anyway.
All right.
Continuing on. I won't get into that.
All right. Fucking yeah. Where were we? Where did we went from like fucking deepfakes to music theory and shit.
We were in calzones at some point. Now I'm hungry.
Calzones.
I would kill a man right now to get a fatty B.
All right. Before any more incriminating shit comes out, I don't like. Fuck, I had an entire list of like things to like think like in my head of like what I was gonna talk about, and like now I'm.
Oh shit! I remember what we were talking about earlier. VR club gigs. Yes.
VR club gigs was definitely one of them to cover.
Yes.
VR is the future. That's my thoughts on that. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Like, yeah. And it's crazy, like, because Slyfest was like just such a cool thing.
Yes. Oh my god. The thing is, okay, so like I played a Minecraft festival a long time ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't really touched any of those since because honestly, I'm not a big fan of the whole Minecraft being the kind of like the way to get that music. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of issues. But then I did Slyfest, and I just kind of had this feeling of like VR is the future, and everything that I experienced through Slyfest kind of confirmed those suspicions I had that this is like the way to go. And then Porter just released that 360 video that also works in VR. So yeah.
So
and
do you guys
Porter is one of those artists that like are actually like gravitating towards VR. Like
yes,
like Porter Must Die is a big like he Must Die is like fully in the culture. He's got full body. He's got his own custom abbeys and everything. His set at Shelter was nuts.
Because it's like it's so much cooler to be like in VR and like get really into that shit versus like get into Second Life. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that's true, but like if I was to say that to anybody who knew both of those things, they go, "Oh yeah," because it's like VR. It's like I don't know. There's like kind of this quality to it. Like even if you're like way too into it, it's so fucking cool because it's like you put a headset on and you're there.
Yeah, it's the next like, level immersion of VR.
Yeah, and like when I went to Slyfest, one of the things that really excites me about VR is like so like if you do like realistic shows, and you obviously have the constraints. One of the first things they tell you about setting up any sort of electronic show is, hey, you know, you got to pay attention to physics and how those work. When I first played my show, somebody put a hand on my shoulder and said, hey, remember physics. But that being said, like jokes aside, like VR, you have no constraints at all. Like as far as like light shows or anything go, you can do whatever the hell you want. Like, okay, whatever. Giant floating whales. Sure. Don't give a shit. It's not like VR is going to be like, hey, that doesn't work. That's not right. And the whales are going to come crashing to the ground because of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
So like the thing that really excites me with VR as far as these shows go is not the ability to recreate the sets that we already have, the stages that we already have, which to be fair, there is something to be said during COVID. Like a lot of people are really missing that stuff. But what really excites me about VR is the ability to go beyond that and start creating stages that are literally physically impossible to create in real life.
Yeah, and all those mega props too, like the giant floating con during.
Yeah, so that's something you couldn't do in real life. Nobody has ever, when I've played a show, gone, "Hey, we're gonna put a 150-foot tall Xavi model over the stage that like glows with the music. Is that cool with you?"
I mean, I definitely see the like how it could be like the future but it's like you guys both have like rigs, right? I guess like
yes.
Like headsets and shit.
I got full body and everything, yeah.
Okay, like as someone who doesn't have like either of those things, do you think like
you're a big nerd?
Huh?
No, I'm joking. You're a big nerd? No, I'm joking.
Like, I am a big nerd and I'm proud of it.
Hey, let's shame this guy. He doesn't have VR. Boo!
Look at this nerd. Well, the thing is, to answer your question, like I think it's over time, VR is becoming more accessible, especially with like the Quest 2.
I mean, that wasn't what I was gonna ask, but you know, I mean, I was gonna get to that, but it's like, it's more so like, do you think it's like for people who go to like VR chat like festivals, but they don't have like a VR like headset, like do you think it kind of like ruins the immersion, or is like, do you think it's like
no?
My answer is a fat no. Like instantly.
I was in desktop the entire.
I have played Minecraft festivals, which are the exact same thing when you do that outside of VR. But like the thing about Minecraft festivals versus like a VR festival is the Minecraft, as far as I can tell, just from personal experience, and again, coding goes whoop right over my head, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But first of all, the interface is basically the same if you're doing a VR fest outside of VR and a Minecraft fest. But the VR festival, as far as I can tell, has a much better framework to handle a butt ton of people coming in at the same time versus Minecraft. Because when I played those festivals, they always had major issues with a bunch of people being in the same room, and they'd like have to go to like these huge like Minecraft servers that, you know, like basically not beg, but like ask them very nicely to help them out with this kind of stuff. And the major solution to that was having all these people in these different like hosted rooms. But that's the thing, is like VR sets do that as well. Yes, that's true. But the framework's already built in where you don't really have like to do that. People just create their own instances of the room, and you don't have to go and ask like 1,000+ person Minecraft like website to kind of help you out with that.
Yeah.
I think like it's no less immersive. In fact, because of like just easier to get people on and such, it's more immersive. And there's newer programs other than VR chat that have started kind of rearing their heads around that also work outside of VR and are also way more promising as far as like hosting multiple people online. So
yeah, like I was in desktop for the entire Slyfest because at the time my old headset was bricked, and I still felt the immersion, especially because like when you have other people around you, like for example in full body dancing, it's just an extra added level of like immersion that you wouldn't have. And that weekend was super special. And the Sly recently, around Christmas, opened up the archive world. So I went, in VR, and I experienced a lot of these sets for the first time in VR, and that was something special. Like it was me and my girlfriend, we went and we caught my set, we caught your set, Dylan's set. Like, it's nuts, Every time I go back, it's just like, man.
Make sure to catch the slushy set, because I think if anybody really had a grasp of how all this stuff worked and how like it worked very well with the light show, it's definitely slushy set.
I don't know, your visuals were pretty fucking pog, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but Slushy's visuals were like, yeah, okay, so I have to thank Hannah Celine for that. She's an extremely good CG artist who did like basically all of my visuals for a ridiculously cheap price, because I didn't have any money at that point. And they are a super kind person. And let me just give a shout out to them. Let me go ahead and check what their Twitter filter is. Their Twitter handle is really quick, so I can give them that shout out. But yeah, like Their visuals were just unbelievable. Let me see. I believe it is Hannah Celine _ SELENE, and Hannah just spelled HANNAH.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll be sure to like put that in the description or on the screen if you're watching
Absolutely,
on the YouTubes. But yeah, it's like, I mean, I'll definitely like have to consider it, because it's like, I mean, obviously like right now it's like money's tight and I can't like drop a fuck ton of money on like on a headset, because I mean, I don't know why, but it's like, to me they just seem to be getting more expensive, but
They are.
Yeah.
which is, it's like I just gotta wait for them to start going down,
Yeah.
like fucking stocks.
It'll get more accessible as the technology gets cheaper and more efficient. You know?
I think like at this point, most people are just kind of like buying either like second gen, or not second gen, but like, like this is the generation before the current generation headsets, just because
that's
they're
what I
way
did,
cheaper. Yeah.
I went to Facebook Marketplace and got a Vive for like, what, 200?
Damn.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it was the Facebook Marketplace. It's dangerous. You'll spend so much money.
Yeah. Man, Facebook Marketplace is kind of a mess. Well, the thing is, like, it's not a mess, but like it is for the car sections, which is the main thing I browse.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's a lot of people on there who are like, no low ballers. I know what I got. $10,000 doesn't run. You have to come pick it up.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. But yeah, like, to piggyback off of what you were saying with like VR being the future, it's not just Slyfest anymore either. There are so many things happening every day of the week in VR chat, and there's all these like different people coming together to throw pretty insane events, like the ones I played on New Year's, and then of course we have next year's Slyfest. I don't know what Sly is planned for next year's Slyfest, but I'm excited.
Well, considering how much planning Sly put into the first one, I really think the second one's going to be even more special.
Oh yeah, and there's a bunch of artists coming through as well.
Like one of the things, like again, I hate to make the comparison again with the Minecraft festivals, but with Minecraft, it's like you always have the exact same issues. But with VR, as far as I can tell, it's like, yeah, there was a couple of issues with the first year, but it's way easier to work those issues out. And now it's just going to go nuts because you can just go. Sly's going to push it as far as they can. I know that for a fact. Mm-hmm. Sly is somebody who is like very much looking at the cutting edge of all this stuff. So it's going to be very interesting to see what comes of that.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Either way, I'm excited. Just strap me in and throw me into the future, boys. I'm ready for it.
We're gonna hop in the Matrix.
Let's go. We're gonna get fucking like the day we get to like festivals with like SAO full dive technology type shit.
Oh God,
would be. Sick.
I think I'd actually hate it more because then like people would probably like recreate the awful heat at most festivals.
Somebody would somebody would just be an asshole and recreate like fucking make it like 180 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like think about it. You could get to experience the full immersion of being next to some sweaty rave dude with like massive body odor.
They don't have to. They don't have to go that far, do they?
Future.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I think we're reaching like the end of our hour here. So yeah. So I guess, Xavi, do you have any other like anything else you wanna like touch base on before you go ahead and like plug everything you have?
Oh, well, I was gonna plug everything I had in the touch base, but no, not really. I mean, AI is gonna steal a bunch of jobs, including ones in creativity. But hey, we got VR to comfort us and calzones.
You know,
I think that covers it. I think that covers everything we talked about.
That's about right. All right. Would you like to go ahead and then plug everything you got, all your socials, all your
stuffs? Let me go ahead and do that. So first of all, to cover like the main thing, I have an album coming out extremely soon. My album will be out, I will say, near the beginning of March. I don't know if this podcast is going to be out by then or not. The album is called To the Endless Searing Skies. It is on Ophelia Records, and I'm pretty proud of it, at least. 2 singles out already. The Warmth of Known just came out a couple of days ago. Go listen to that if you haven't. Really proud of that one. As far as socials, you can find me on Facebook as Xavi USA. You can find me on Twitter, Xavi Makes Music. And you can find me on Instagram, too, with the same @ as Twitter. That's Xavi Makes Music. So you can kind of keep up with my boring shit there. So
Y'all better stream the album.
Please do. I put a lot of effort into it, and there's a lot of really good stuff coming around that same time, so I'm really afraid. But
Plot twist is like it was all written by an AI, and that's like why we've had this conversation.
yeah, it's going to be really extremely weird because it's all AI written except for the 2 singles.
Plot twist: Xavi is the AI.
Oh,
you know
crazy. There's an A and 9 in his name. That's nuts.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah,
I mean,
take out
it's
the X
separated
and
by
the
a
fine.
B.
Yeah, it's fine. All right. Well, I guess thank you everybody so much for tuning in, and yeah, we got a lot more stuff in store for our return. Go make sure to check out Xavi, check out myself and Taps, check out the rest of the podcast, check out Xavi's album when it's out.
Please,
it'll probably be out
Please.
after this. So like,
please,
If you don't stream it, I will come to your house and slap you across the face with a calzone.
listen. There's no shows going on. None of us are making any money. Oh, please stream it, please.
yeah, all right. I think that.
That was literally the perfect way to fucking end that.
All right. Well, yeah. See everybody next episode.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely.